Hey Challengers, it is Leave, and let's see, I think this is day 34. I'm starting to lose count. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but I don't know. Take it for what it's worth. I've got a lot of little stories to share with you. Yesterday, on Get Real Girls, the radio show I do, we had Dr. Oz, who you may know from Oprah. He is her medical guru, and he is so awesome. He was just so great with us, and we were talking about how long do you want to live. It's an uncomfortable question for a lot of people to think about their mortality, and also to think about what you want to do with the days that you have, whether it's a few or 60 years worth. And so we faced that during yesterday's show, and Dr. Oz came on with us to talk about ways to extend your life. Just very gracious, kind, so interesting, fascinating. He shared 5 ways that account for 70% of your aging process. And the first 4 are no big surprises. Find a diet you love and can stick with. Get a half hour of activity every day. Have an optimal blood pressure level, not average. He says we all have to have an optimal level. And don't smoke. But the 5th one was about coping with stress. He said there is no way to get rid of stress. It's part of the human experience. But it's up to us to figure out how we're going to cope with that stress in our lives. And his favorite ways are what he calls behavioral therapy, and simply put, he said that it's thinking twice before you react to any situation. I think he's probably a big believer in The Secret. His wife is a Reiki master, which is kind of a metaphysical healer, and just little things that he said during the interview were a little bit more holistic than your average doctor would typically say, which I think is probably why Oprah loves him. But he said, when you go with your first instinct and respond to somebody who's always late or always does this or my husband always does that, that basically we pull more of that towards us, and that it just spawns or breeds more negative. So he said, think twice about how you're going to react to the situation. Is it really worth spending your energy on? And then he also talked a lot about deep breathing, belly breathing, yoga breathing. That you don't have to go to yoga class to do it, but that you can do these breathing exercises even while you're at work or as you're driving, carpooling your kids. Those breaths that get, where your navel really is sucked in and you breathe with your whole body. And I forget to do that a lot. So really good reminders. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? This morning I had a really cool experience with my 4-year-old son. He is at this stage where it's, he is very verbal and knows lots of words, but he doesn't know how to communicate his anger, frustration, or what to do with it. And heck, a lot of us adults don't know what to do with it. So this morning he made the island in our kitchen a train station, and we cut out some boxes and made little tunnels and stuff for his Thomas the Trains to go through. Well, they kept falling off the island. They'd roll right off, and he would just like scream or be so mad that he'd use potty words. The 4-year-old's equivalent to us swearing. And he was just getting so frustrated each time that they rolled off. So I took him in my arms and we sat down, and I said, I have a secret to tell you, and it's up to you if you want to believe it, but it works for me. And I really simplified basically the law of attraction for him. I just said, when something bad happens, like your vehicle's falling off the counter, or when you stub your toe, I know you want to like scream out and get frustrated and mad and yell at somebody else or hit somebody. But I said, what the secret is if you do that stuff, then the bad stuff keeps on happening. But if you take a big, deep breath, and I showed him blow it out your mouth, and you do a couple of those, and you say, it's okay, I can do this, that good things start happening. And his eyes kind of, opened up wide. And he had me repeat it a couple of times. And I said, you want to practice trying to do the deep breathing? And he did. So we did deep breaths, and he exhaled, and he goes, I feel God in my tummy. I said, yeah, that's what it feels like. And that's what is going to make the good things start happening. And it was so cute, because then he went back to the island, and things were going well, but then one of the trains rolled off, and he caught himself. He came that close to, yelling or hitting something, and he caught himself, stopped himself in his tracks, and he looked over at me and smiled, and then he did a big, deep breath, and I just said, oh, you did it, that was great, and he was so proud of himself. And then he found a way to keep the trains from sliding off the island, and I said, that's what happens when you start feeling good about things, is that you can find solutions, and you can fix the problems much easier. So he was doing that all morning long, and I really did see a difference even in those couple of hours, and it seemed like things were going a little smoother. So I'm sure this is going to take a lot of repeating with him, but I felt like it was a small and positive breakthrough for us. I put him down for his nap then. He still loves to nap, thank God. And my husband is out golfing, and I don't know, I was just kind of avoiding cleaning and stuff, and was trying to decide what I should do, and it's just kind of mindlessly flipping around TV channels and finding, basically brain-numbing stuff on, just not interested in it. And then I accidentally pressed 2, and it came up on our public television station, and Wayne Dyer was on. I was like, oh, well, that's what I'm supposed to be watching. And a couple minutes in, he said, if you were just flipping around your TV channels with your remote and you landed on this, there's no question that you were supposed to be listening to this. So it's like, yay. So he told this amazing story about a manuscript he wrote that was based on the incredible nature of monarch butterflies, and how one of his friends had told him years back that monarchs are so amazing because their brains are like the size of a pinprick, just a tiny little brain, and yet they are able to fly. Oh, and he said their wings are as thin as toilet paper. So you've got this tiny little brain attached to toilet paper, and they fly 3,000 or 4,000 miles during migration from one place to another. And when it's time to return to their home, they not only go back to the area or the region, they find the same tree where they had lived before, and the very same branch. And so he was saying, how can a butterfly have enough brain power and willpower to do that, and a human, and he said himself, can't even find their cell phone half the time. So it was a really inspiring message, and I felt like I was supposed to sit there and watch Wayne, Dr. Dyer, for a few minutes, and I ordered some of his books that I don't have that he talked about on the program. So that was cool. So all in all, it's been a great weekend, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend too. I will check back with you again soon. Bye.